and crying, watching over us as time goes by. Singing and crying, watching over us as time goes by. Just a little love, just a little love.
Shalom and welcome to Hebrew Bible Secrets with your host Rabbi Jeremy Beaton. We are reading today from the book of Matthew, starting at chapter 6. 1. Take heed that you do not your charitable deeds before men, to be seen of them. Otherwise you have no reward of your Av which is in the Shamayim, the heaven. 2. Therefore, when you do your charitable deeds, do not sound the trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the Kohalim, the synagogue, and in the streets, that they may have glory of men. Verily I say to you, they have their reward. 3. But when you do your charitable deeds, let not your left hand know what your right hand does. 4. That your charitable deeds may be in secret, and your Av, your Father, who sees in secret himself, shall reward you openly. 5. And when you petition, you shall not be as the hypocrites are, for they love to petition, standing in the Kohalim and in the corners of the streets, that they may be seen of men. Verily I say to you, they have their reward. 6. But you, when you petition, enter into your talit, your closet, and when you have shut your door, petition to your Av, your Father, who is in the secret place. And your Av, who sees in secret, shall reward you openly. 7. But when you petition, do not use vain repetitions, as the heathen do, for they think they shall be heard for their many words. 8. But be not therefore like them, for your Av knows what things ye have need of, before ye ask him. So here Yahushua, whose son called Jesus, teaches the disciples how to petition. So we have the translation in the Hebrew, but I'm going to read the English. So 9. Therefore petition after this manner. Our Av in Shamayim, in heaven. Kadosh be thy name. Holy be thy name. 10. Your kingdom come, your will be done, in earth, as it is in the Shamayim, in the heaven. 11. Give us this day our daily lechem, our bread. 12. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. 13. And lead us not into trials, but rescue us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen. 14. For if you forgive men their trespass, your Av in Shamayim will also forgive you. 15. But if you forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Av forgive your trespasses. 16. Moreover, when you fast, be not sad-faced as the hypocrites are, for they make their faces unattractive, that they may appear sad to men while fasting. Verily I say to you, they have their reward. 17. But you, when you fast, anoint your head with oil and wash your face. 18. That you appear not to men to fast, but to your Av which is in secret, and your Av who sees in secret shall reward you openly. 19. Lay not up yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. 20. But lay up for yourselves treasures in Shamayim, where neither moth nor rust can destroy, and where thieves do not break in and steal. 21. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. 22. The light of the body is the eye. Therefore, if your eye is healthy, your whole body shall be full of light. 23. But if your eye is evil, your whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you be darkness, how great is that darkness? 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to one and despise the other. You cannot serve Yahweh and Mammon. 25. Therefore I say to you, take no thought for your life, what you shall eat or what you shall drink, nor yet for your body, what you shall put on. Is not the life more than the food, and the body more than the clothes? 26. Behold, the birds of the air, for they sow not, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your Avin Shamayim feeds them. Are you not more precious than they? 27. Which of you, by worrying, can add 1 cubit to his stature? 28. And why do you worry for clothes? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They work not, neither do they spin. 29. And yet I say to you, that even Solomon, in all his glory, was not arrayed like one of these. 30. Therefore, if Yahweh so clothe the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall he not much more clothe ye, you people of little faith? 31. Therefore, do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? Or what shall we drink? Or what shall we be clothed with? 32. For after all these things do the unconverted seek. For your Av, your Father in Shamayim, knows that you have need of all these things. 33. But above all, seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. 34. Take therefore no thought for tomorrow shall worry for itself. Today has trouble enough of its own. So there ends chapter 6. So let's have a look at some of the footnotes in chapter 6. The first footnote we have is in verse 2. Therefore, when you do your charitable deeds, do not sound a trumpet. So let's have a look at this word trumpet. The boxes in the temple were made in the shape of a shofar, where people put their money in, so when someone wanted to let others know, he put lots of money in. This would allow it to make a loud noise when the coins dropped in. Yahushua spoke out against such a practice to make oneself noticed. So this is a shofar, as you can see. So obviously the money going in is going to make quite a lot of noise if you're putting in a lot of money into that. Okay, let's have a look at and obviously Yahushua is saying, don't do this, to make oneself noticed. So let's look at the next footnote. So we have in verse 3, but when you do charitable deeds, let not your left hand know what your right hand does. So the footnote here for that is, the right hand stands for strength, judgment and understanding, while the left hand stands for mercy, wisdom and victory. Therefore, let your left hand not know what your right hand does, means you are doing a deed to advance the kingdom, giving it strength, power, while the tendency to let the left hand know is to feel some kind of remorse over it, in the sense of sadness or too much mercy. Yahushua is asking to keep balanced. Do not let yourself get out of balance. He is saying to balance mercy and judgment. So the next footnote we have is 6, verse 6. But you, when you petition, enter into your talid. So let's have a look at this footnote for talid. The talid was used in the first century by the Yahudim, by the Jews, to pray in. So Yahushua is teaching something that was occurring and acceptable. Even today in Israel, you will see this happening. So this is basically what a talid looks like. And then obviously you have the zizits on the end of the talid, the blue representing the Messiah. Okay? So that's a talid. So let's go to the next footnote, which is in the same verse. But you, when you petition, enter into your talid, your closet, and when you have shut your door, petition to your Av, your father. Okay, let's have a look at this word, Av. Many people here think Yahushua made a new prayer. This is far from the truth, and we have illustrated in the Hidden Truth Torah how this prayer is an ancient prayer in Deuteronomy 32. So this is the Hidden Truth Torah. Okay, so if you want to purchase that, you can purchase that on Amazon. By far the best Bible out there, in my opinion. Okay, so Deuteronomy 32. It was common for Rabbim to come up with a prayer for their disciples. And many Rabbim did this, many rabbis did this. Yahushua was not alone. He lived and breathed the rabbinical culture around him and acted like the Rabbim and a great Pharisee. He made his prayer taking existing words and modifying them. This prayer that was given by Rabbim was not to replace existing agreed prayers, but to supplement them. Yahushua was the great rabbi who ever lived. Well, at least in our opinion. He was the master of heaven and the earth, the one who had the hukmah, wisdom, of Abba Yahweh resting upon him. We have a saying in the East, the Son reveals the Father, and the Father the children. Please see the composition of these words in the Hidden Truth Torah, Deuteronomy 32:1. Deuteronomy 32:1. Give ear, O you Shamayim, you heaven, and I will speak, and hear, O earth, the words of my mouth. So that is Deuteronomy 32:1. Right, let's go to the next footnote. So which is verse 7. But when you petition, do not use vain repetitions, as the heathens do. So let's have a look at this, vain repetitions. This prayer is like a stutter, or when you babble. You will hear this kind of babble when people do stuttering or shuffling words like kumba mumba, jomo dumba, and keep repeating these kind of words. Even in some Pentecostal churches where people do not have the genuine gift of a tongue, they babble like shisendra, mashendra type of words. However, we can repeat reading of Psalms, and it's perfectly legal to do so. let's say I read the Psalm 150 3 times in one reading. This is not considered babble, as these are words that give glory to Yahweh. We need to understand that in the first century, this particular type of vain prayer was like film acting by those who wanted to attract attention. So in essence, Yahushua is really saying, do not attract attention and do your prayers privately. Okay, so there you have it. From Yahushua, do your prayers privately. Okay, let's go to the next footnote. So Yahushua teaches the disciples how to petition. Incorrectly called the Lord's Prayer is actually the prayer for the disciples of Yahushua. It was a custom for rabbis to teach a prayer under the authority of a serving rabbi. In this case, it being Yahushua, in whose authority we act and live, hence why the prayer is in his name. So this prayer was given by Yahushua, or made by Yahushua. Okay, so let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 11. Give us this day our daily lechem, our daily bread. So bread has a wider role than just as a staple food, but as Torah words that are needed for our daily living. Torah means instructions. So all of the scripture qualifies for this. But in the narrow sense, Torah is the first 5 books of Moses. So the breaking of the wine and the bread, obviously that Christians do, really the bread is representing the Torah. Okay? So eat of my flesh, which is obviously learn Torah, understand Torah. Yeah? So let's go to the next footnote. And forgive us our debts. So let's have a look at this. The secret here is that you are asking Yahweh to release you from your debts, trespasses, and sins. The idea is that Yahweh will release all your debts, as in the year of Shemitah. Deuteronomy 15:1, the year of release also tied into the Jubilee, as in Leviticus 25:10. You only have to be in the land. The Father in heaven will do the rest. Which means you have to be part of Israel even if you are out of the land. He will bring you in. You will experience full and free forgiveness. The ancient word deror, the word for liberty used in the context of a Jubilee year, means all of the following. Led by the voice, Torah of Messiah. The door to heaven is the Messiah in John 10:7. The ancient resh symbolized a bird flying high. The staff belongs to the Messiah, Ezekiel 37:19. The rosh or head is also of the Messiah, Isaiah 28:16. The tried precious stone. So let's go back to the debt of the Shemitah. So we have a footnote there for Deuteronomy 15:1. Let's just have a quick look at that. Deuteronomy 15:1. At the end of every 7 years, you shall make a cancellation of debt. So we have a footnote there also, which reads, the Shemitah, the year of release. All borrowed money must be forgiven and no more debt is due. So after every 7 years, if anybody owes you money, you have to release that debt. This is for the kingdom, obviously. So understand, we are going to be going back to these laws of the Father and of the Torah. And let me just read on a little more. So verse 2 also says, and this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lends to his neighbour shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbour or of his brother, because it is called Yahweh's release. Okay, so we've got a footnote there for release. All debts owed between Israelites are to be released, but the debts that the Gentiles owe to Israelites are not released. Okay, so that gives you a little bit more understanding about the Shemitah. And also we have here the year of release also tied into the Jubilee, as in Leviticus 25:10. So let's have a look at Leviticus 25:10 quickly, if we can. Leviticus 25:10. And you shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land to all the inhabitants there. It shall be a jubilee to you, a jubilee, and you shall return every man to his possession, and you shall return every man to his mishpachah, his family. Okay, so we have a footnote here for every man to his possession. All the people and property must be redeemed in the year of Jubilee. Servants must be released to go free. And we have, and you shall return every man to his mishpachah, his family. So let's read this quickly. So the ancient word, the word for liberty, used in context of a Jubilee year, means all of the following. The ancient Dalet is the marker for a mouth. So this voice, his commandments, represent Torah obedience to his disciples, or for his disciples. Modern Dalet is the symbol for the door, which is the Torah. The staff belongs to the future Messiah in Ezekiel 37:19. The Rosh, or head, is also of the Messiah, which is in Isaiah 28:16. The tried precious stone, the Wa, reveals him as a man, and the ancient picture of the feather floating reveals, with the Hebrew Resh, means appointed by our Father when he comes for us. Okay, so there you have more understanding in regards to the Jubilee. So the 50th year, again, all debt released. So there you have it. So if we go to the next footnote, so if we go back and we will read about led by the voice, the Torah of Messiah. The door to heaven is the Messiah, which is in John 10:7. The ancient resh symbolized a flying bird. So let's just have a look at that. John 10:7. John 10:7. Then said Yahushua to them again, Verily, verily, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. I'll read on just a little. 8. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. 9. I am the door. By me, if any man enters in, he shall be rescued, and shall go in and out and find pasture. Okay, so there you have John 10:7. So we also have the staff belongs to the Messiah. So that's Ezekiel 37:19. So I'll leave that for you to read. And then we have the Rosh or head is also of the Messiah, which is Isaiah 28:16, the tried precious stone. So let's have a look at Isaiah 28:16. Isaiah 28:16. Therefore, thus says Master Yahweh, behold, I lay in Sion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone, a sure foundation. He that believes shall not make haste. Okay, let's have a look at this word haste. We have here the Messiah, King, Yahushua. So there you have it there, more confirmation that all of these things here, led by the voice, Torah of Messiah, the door to heaven is the Messiah, the ancient Resh symbolized by a bird flying high, the staff belongs to the Messiah, the Rosh or head is also of the Messiah, who is also the tried precious stone. So let's go to the next footnote, which is in verse 14. For if you forgive men their trespass, your Av in Shamayim will also forgive you. So let's have a look at this quickly. If someone comes to us for forgiveness, it's not an option, but a command for us to forgive them. If we do not forgive them, we also do not receive it. So the next footnote after that is verse 17. But if you, when you fast, anoint your head with oil and wash your face. So, but you, when you fast, let's have a look at this. The three things that the Pharisees valued the most were to give alms, fast in the week, and pray. This is how they judge someone's character. These things are often mentioned in Scripture, and also the story of the centurion mentioned in Acts chapter 10 about Cornelius was well known for these three acts. Yahushua's theology was not much different from the Pharisees. Okay, then let's go to the next footnote. So we have also anoint your head with oil and wash your face. So this was a sign of happiness, and you can read about that in Ruth 3:3. Okay, so the next footnote after that, we have in verse 20, but lay up for yourself treasures in Shamayim, in heaven. So for that we have, it's not wrong to do business to make money, but our focus should be that we are good stewards and use the money for the kingdom of Yahweh, which is building treasure in heaven. Okay? So the next footnote after that is in verse 23. But if your eye is evil, your whole body shall be full of darkness. So let's have a look at this. But if your eye be evil. Hebraic way of saying, do not be stingy with your wealth. So there you have it in a nutshell. Do not be stingy with your wealth. So the next footnote we have is in verse 24. No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to one and despise the other. You cannot serve Yahweh and Mammon. So let's have a look at this word Mammon. Mammon was not only wealth, but also a Syrian deity of riches, called by that name. So that's understanding of the word Mammon. So the next footnote we have, which is in verse 27. Which of you, by worrying, can add 1 cubit to his stature? So using a cubit, which is 18 inches, to mean adding 1 day to your length of days. Okay? And the next footnote after that is in verse 33. But above all, seek first the kingdom So missing the words of Yahweh in the manuscripts. So above all, seek Yahweh and the kingdom, and his righteousness. So let's have a look at this word righteousness, which is the Torah. And the last footnote we have is in verse 34. Take heed, therefore, no thought for tomorrow. So let's have a look at this quickly. This was also in Sota 48b, a rabbinic quoting by Rabbi Eliezer the Great. So there you have it. So we come to the end now of Matthew chapter 6. And I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the other side. This is your host, Rabbi Jeremy Beeson, saying Shalom Shalom.